in that video because I saw hadn't press record on sound. Because we've been shooting this for such a long time. Conversation so rich. This is a class in session on how to make money while doing nothing.
Yo.
Very, very, such a crazy title, but a real title on its own. I want us to continue. Now, there's this thing that I saw you, Rina. Rina, do it again. You did it in the last video.
So in fact, the last video I didn't do it properly. It first starts like this. First line, and then just does this.
Hey.
Or it starts like this. And then after like a long time, it does this. So for a while, you might be two people doing the same, not doing the same thing. But you can't tell there's a difference. You can't tell for a long time, maybe 18 months, maybe 2 years. You can't tell. But then suddenly, you're in two different worlds, planets.
Okay, let's have that conversation around multiplication.
Yeah.
Because we don't just want this money to do something small. We don't want it, first of all, to be idle at all. And then you can start doing this thing, and every day you're calling, so niko happy? And that's a thing that is very typical with Kenyans. Pius said check, but there's a way where there's something called instant gratifications that we want. But you said, you're calling every day to find out, where am I? This thing is not working. Multiplication takes time and it happens. Explain to me this multiplication from your world. Compounding, multiplication, whatever it may be. Let's just have a conversation about how it works.
I guess it's with everything. It's not just money. If I want to learn to do a push-up, it will take, okay, for me, it's taken me a long time maybe to do one push-up. Now I can do a push-up. But it's taken long, like almost 2 years. Like, I don't know how come. Because I don't do it every day. But I started with knee push-ups, I went on to knee push-ups, then I raised my knees. Like, it just takes time, you keep going, and then suddenly you can do a small one. Then you can do, I can't still do the one where your chin touches the floor. I can't, but I will get there. The point is, it's slow, consistent things that you do in your life that help you get to where you need to go. So let me use numbers so that it's an example that can make sense. So if I chose today that every month I will invest 5,000 shillings, and I do it every month without fail, every month, and I get an opportunity to put my money away at 10% per annum. Okay, so I won't go crazy, just 10%.
10%,
just 10. But that's net, yeah? So fees taken care of, taxes taken care of, 10%. And that money is growing at this account consistently, and I'm able to compound it.
What does compound mean?
That when it earns interest or a return, that return, I don't withdraw it, I leave it, and that interest earns interest.
Okay.
Yeah? So if I have 100 shillings earning 10%, at the end of the year, I have 10 shillings. In January, I'm not starting with 100, I'm starting with 110 because I didn't withdraw. I start with 110. Then the 110 earns another 10%, it becomes 121. So when I'm starting January the 3rd year, I'm not on 110, I'm on 121.
On the second year, you earned 11, you didn't earn 10.
Exactly, I earned 11, I didn't earn 10. Now, as you keep going, it becomes magical. So if I took 5,000 and did that, 10%, in 35 years, Richie, I'll have 17.8 million.
Wow. 17.8?
Yes.
From 5,000?
5,000. Now, what is interesting to notice is that the 5,000 times 12 times 35 is 2.1.
2.1?
The rest, 15.7 million, is interest earned.
Okay. You're saying from your 5,000 put in every single month for 35 years, all you have put is 2.1 million shillings.
You know, idle cash.
Yes.
When we're talking about idle, if I had it in my bank account earning 0 interest, I'd have 2.1 shillings in 35 years.
2.1 million shillings.
Yes.
If it was 0% interest.
Yes.
So you're saying the compound now is
15.7. So I'll end up with 17.8.
Wow. So, Rina, okay, let's now use a real life situation. Around episode 1, you told us a story about a Kagai. A Kagai who used to bring you 2,000 shillings. Then he came to remove money. Did some of it compound?
Of course.
So he
He was adding more, but there's also the beauty about compounding, and he continued. And by the way, when he's removing the 2.8, it was not all his money that he's removing.
It was just some.
It was some. And then he came back and continued. And continued. Today, we can't even sit on the same table. Do you understand me?
I get it.
Like he's on a completely different plane because of simple, consistent steps. In fact, I usually say, I saw this somewhere, wealth is equal to an income of any kind.
Any kind?
Plus consistency plus time. 20 years ago when I met this guy, who was my client, did he earn more than me? No.
He didn't?
No. Today, does he earn more than me passively? Most definitely.
Passively meaning doing nothing?
Doing nothing. From dividends, interest, rental income. Because he's grown his wealth so much more because of consistently putting money. Simple, small steps. That's why we did that line like this. For a long time, we looked like this guy was wearing
like nothing is happening.
Kind of clothes. He's taking a matatu. He's not driving the best cars. He's not. Oh, he's such a loser. Then suddenly, shwa. And you? You understand my point?
I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Pius,
Yeah.
I want you to chime in on this. It sounds like the best time to invest is yesterday.
Yes.
Actually, it's your parents should invest with you when you're conceived.
without a doubt.
Yeah. Please chime in on this compounding thing. There's a saying that you like to say, it's the 8th wonder of the world.
It's the 8th wonder of the world.
It is.
Yeah, and I like giving this illustration. If I had 1 million shilling today, and on one hand is 1 million shilling, and the other hand is 1 cent, 0.01 shilling.
1 cent.
1 cent. And I give you an option. You take the 1 million and go in peace. Or you take the 1 cent, but the 1 cent will double every day for the next 31 days. Which one would you take? A cent that doubles every day for 31 days and 1 million shilling. Which one would you take?
Because I know what we're
Even
talking
me, I know
about.
what's right.
So,
I think they should choose.
but when I ask this question in a room, people always go for the 1 million because it's unfathomable.
Yeah, even just look. I mean, what are you asking?
Yeah, it's unfathomable that 1 or 0.01 shilling or 1 cent will ever get to 1 million.
Pius, on day 2, that 1 cent will be
2 cents.
2 cents. On day 3,
4 cents.
On day, give me the 1 million. I understand why people can think like that.
You get, eh? You go like that. So we are here. So the answer is, on the 31st day, it will be 21.4 million shillings. The 1 cent. You cannot compare 21 million shillings and 1 million. And I know it's a rather extreme example, but for illustrative purposes, it's very important for us to be able to understand what compounding means. So there are a couple of things to pick up here. First of all, is 31 days. This ndururu, or 1 cent, will multiply for 31 days. Now, if it only stopped multiplying on the 30th day, it would not be 21.4 million. It would be 10 point something million.
So that's
1 day difference.
Yeah.
So let me put it differently. If Esther decided to take the Ndururu tomorrow, not today, and I took the Ndururu today, on the 31st day, Esther will be worth 10 point something million. I'll be worth 21.4 million. What does that mean? It means time. We are back to time.
We're back to time.
Time is the biggest thing here. The biggest warfare against us is our time. So the best time to invest is not tomorrow, is today when someone hears this message. Because one day delay, you may never catch up with it. So let's take somebody else. Maybe Esther, Rina, delayed making the same decision by 5 days. Let's look at what will be the impact.
5 days?
Yes.
So imagine only 5 days. Not
only 5 days. On the 30th, on the 30th day, it will be 10 million. Isn't it? Eh?
Yes.
On the 29th day, it will
5
be
million.
5 million.
2.5.
On the 28th
Oh my.
day, it will be 2.5 million.
1.25.
On the 27th day,
1.25.
1.25. On the 26th day,
Is it
it will be 600 and something. She would rather have taken the 1
million.
The 1 million. 5 days out of the 31 makes all the difference. It is what changed the 1 cent to be better than the 1 million.
But yet it's not what changed. It's the consistency.
But exactly. But so the thing is, the long-term game. It's a long-term game. You need to stay in the game. If
With whatever amount.
With whatever amount.
It doesn't matter the amount, by the way.
With whatever
research
amount.
shows, by the way,
Yes.
And this research was done in the US, that the average dollar millionaire in the US took about 28 years to get there. You see, so time is a factor. So if you gave up on the 25th day and left the scene, you would live with a bad deal. But if you only waited 5 more days, you would have felt the full. Let's just keep at it. Whether it's exercise, eating well.
So it's a long-term game.
Oh my.
The other thing that's lesson number 1. Time is critical. Number 2, it is not how much you have. It's not about how much you have. It's about starting to invest now. The person with 1 million who does nothing with 1 million, and the person with a ndururu or cent who does something about it, the one with the cent will win the game for sure.
Yeah.
So let's put it in practical sense. There are people who are working and they are in they are calling what? C-suite.
jobs.
C-suite
By
jobs.
the way, to tap it
There are
down now,
people-
let me
There are people in C-suite.
for days and
There are people in C-suite
Meshika roho ya Rina.
Yes. There are people in C-suite jobs right now. They're hearing this message, and they're earning millions,
yeah.
but their expenses match their millions
Or even exceed.
or even exceed. And there is that lady, the tea girl in your office,
I'm telling you.
who is charged to bring tea to your table, but she has discovered that you like an accompaniment called mandazi. And it is that out of her own volition, she makes mandazis at home, wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning, makes mandazis, and brings the mandazis. 1 packet of mandazi of unga, she doubles, and she doubles the value of that every day. She sells that mandazi to you. In fact, when you don't have money, she insists that you take it on credit. Because she can afford to loan you.
Yes.
But it is only 5 bob or
Yeah.
10 bob or 20 bob. And you are like, I'm a C-suite guy. This 20 bob, I'm just helping this young lady. That lady is guaranteed to be your employer 20 years from today.
You know, just to speak to C-suite guys, there's a guy This is another one that changed my life, eh? And he doesn't even know this. I'll not say his name, but you know him. Wow. He had similar role as you know, MD of the car he drove. Guys used to chekelea him, eh? The way that he lived his life, guys, I was like, are you even being serious right now? At the age of 40, he said, thank you very much. Now he lives another life, eh? We can only dream.
He redeemed his time.
He redeemed his time. Do you know who I'm talking about? You do? I'll
I
tell you
do
after. He
But-
redeemed his time.
Yeah.
Lives on the coast of this country, just enjoying, living
Living the life. Exactly.
living
And
the life.
and the thing
He
that
understood the game.
He did.
Money is a game. So, number 2 is, so the first aspect of compounding is
Time.
Yeah.
The second aspect of
doesn't matter the amount.
it is whatever you have is enough.
Yeah.
The third,
Wow. Whatever you have is in.
whatever you have is enough.
But I might be listening to this, and I don't even have enough to meet my
Expenses.
expenses.
Yes.
Now what do I do?
Can I tell you something that one of the things that I did early on when I had this amazing conversation with this financial consultant, I realized I used to pay so much money for lunch, and I used to leave my lunch at home. A very nice dinner that had been cooked. From that day until to this day,
You carry.
you can say I'm a seafood guy, but I carry food.
Do you send your PA to the car to get your lunch for you?
I carry for myself when I can. And by the way, I saw it even with CK, the late Dr. CK.
Seriously?
He used to carry his githeri. And he'll say, Pius, are you in the office? I say, yes. Come, we have lunch together. I go, and we have githeri. My friend, the thing is this, the people who, billionaires understand the value of money. They have no show off that we are going to this restaurant or that restaurant. When they want, they will have it. But don't judge them by one time you see them in the restaurant. They understand when to do it and when not to do it. Their usual days, they will carry their food. So a simple thing like just carrying food from home is enough to put 100 shilling in chums, and you start your journey. The third one is, remember, this cent was multiplying every day, and the 1 million was not earning anything. So it was multiplying. Now, I know 100% may be a lot of money, but even 10%, like the example you have given, you know, demand a return on your money. Idle money is an acceptable and a crime.
It's a crime, actually.
In the journey of creating wealth. In fact, it is what you just said it correctly. Jesus said, this is wickedness. You have been entrusted with the resources, you are a steward, and it is earning zero, it is not multiplying. Even God is not happy with you about that. Because you're depriving families. You could have created jobs and done many things. So demand a return on your money. As long as money is multiplying, it will always create children. You asked very interesting, what is compounding? Compounding is the first money that you put. Okay, let's take the 1 cent. On the first day, the 1 cent, the second day it gets a child, the third day it gets a grandchild, and it keeps. It becomes great grandparent, because and the children become grandparents, and so everything is feeding each other. It's a system, and the idea is you do not eat the seed, you eat the child, but you have to wait for the child to give. And the thing is, the idea is the money that when you pay yourself first, that becomes a seed. That seed gives birth to a child, and that child gives birth to another child, and now this is what becomes now when it gets to that place Rina was doing, like, zoop, the children are so many. You know, have you seen these clips maybe on Instagram where they say this is how it started, and they say
Yes.
a husband and wife, and then it became like this, then the children come, then it became like this, the children come, then it becomes like this, until they can't fit in the picture.
Yeah.
It's a compounding effect.
Cooler than great grandchild. You're saying do not eat the seed that plants the tree. That
Yes,
becomes a tree.
that becomes a
Wait
tree.
for the fruits.
Wait for the fruits.
Wait. That
It's-
is the
yes,
word.
Yes,
Wait.
because it's a kingdom principle that we are here to multiply. We are to multiply. And to multiply, something must be put down. There must be a sacrifice. And that sacrifice is this thing you say, I'm paying myself. To pay yourself is to say, I'm not going to be having lunch in my favorite restaurant. I'm not going to be buying my Porsche car. Do you know, our first 10 years of marriage, it meant we lived in a neighborhood that, like that guy. Because we had to live on one income, the smallest income.
You have to downgrade
You had to downgrade.
before you upgrade.
You had to downgrade. So you create this room. So that is compounding. The eighth wonder of the world. How a cent can become 21.4 million. You can do that in anything. Anything like what you've just described.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a story of a little girl that I read about, a Kenyan from Western. And she did really well in her KCSE. She was actually third in the county. But she was from a home that was not very well off. Actually, her mom was a single parent, couldn't actually afford to take her to high school. So she went back to her primary school and told her headmaster, could you just be coming every day, spending a few hours in the computer lab? Because they had a computer lab. And she was a star in that county, and so he was like, yeah, of course. I mean, no problem. Come an hour a day, just feel free. So she would go, and so she was doing research, just trying to see what do I do with my time. And she did her research and put together some sort of a proposal. And she went and saw her headmaster, and she told him, I've done some research on these rabbits, and they're called New Zealand rabbits. It's a breed. And from what I've seen, I think I can do some business to help me pay for my high school. And he was like, really? Okay. How much money do you need to start? How many rabbits do you need? Blah, blah, blah. And they talked about it, and she said, I just need 50,000 shillings. Where can I get 50,000? He was so impressed by the work she had done. How old is this child? 14. That he said, I will lend you the 50,000. Let me just tell you, this girl bought the rabbits, put together a rabbit house for them. And you know how rabbits give birth and have children very quickly. And in no time, she employed a lady from the village where she was from, and then got another one, and got another one. And before long, she had a community project that was doing well and became sustenance for the women. Started with one woman, 2 women, 3 women. When she was 16, I don't know how this happened. It was probably through the research that she was doing. So I don't know how it happened, but she was identified by a school in South Africa called ALA. Do you know she was given a scholarship? And high school, pre-university, taken care of. And her project has become so big in her village, helping women become economically empowered. She's now in a university somewhere in South America. I don't know that she's now doing PhD. But the point is, it started with an idea.
Yeah.
What did she have in her hand? Time. And a computer. And because of the time that she put there, then she was able to get the seed capital for this thing that she ended up doing. I think, again, going back to one of our first videos in this series, is mindset. And just thinking, how can I do something that can make a difference? Bring me some kind of income that then I can use to multiply. Yeah. So we are restricted mostly by how we are thinking.
And now you remind me of the story. I had promised to give this story.
That story, I want you to give it at the end.
Yeah. I think it's a very timely story for this.
Okay.
So our colleague